What is up, folks? I'm so excited. Wow, Epic React has been on my mind a lot recently. And I am excited to give you a little tour of what we have for Epic React. This is so great. I'm so excited to show you this. So, if you would like to, you can join us on Discord. Go to kcd.im/discord, and that's where you can ask questions and things. For the first part of this, I'm just going to take you on a tour of a couple of things I've got notes for to show you, and then we can jump in and I can answer any questions that you've got, because people always seem to have questions about this stuff, and I don't mind answering. I think it's kind of fun. So yeah, kcd.im/discord, so you can ask questions, and without any further ado, let's do this. Here we go. All right, so this is EpicReact.Dev. And when you're logged in, then you go to the /learn page. And there's no access right now. I guess I should preface all of this. Not everybody realizes EpicReact.Dev is not currently available at the time of this live stream. It will become available after 3 days and 22 hours and 56 minutes. So we are coming down to it finally. I can't wait for us to finally have EpicReact.Dev. Oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. And it's so great. I can't wait. So once it's live, you'll be able to purchase I've said this many times, but there are people who haven't heard that. We're going to have an enormous discount the first 24 hours. So you do want to not miss this initial day. And so that's why we have this Remind Me calendar link. I notice sometimes that doesn't work on mobile very well for some reason. I blame Google Calendar for that. But yeah, so assuming that does work, it is Tuesday the 29th at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. That's my time zone, so whatever time zone that is. But yeah, anytime on Tuesday, you'll get the big discount. And then after that, the day after that, it's a great discount, not a huge discount. And then that's for a time. And then after that is over, for the rest of the sale, it'll just be a good discount. So that is all that I'm going to say about that. Let's dive in to this stuff. So when you log in, there will be a little onboarding process. We're actually still kind of working on that, so I'm not going to show you that. But once you get to the page, once you've actually logged in, then you'll have this invoice opportunity. If you close this, you won't see that again, but you can always scroll down to the very bottom and you can download the invoice there. Another thing that you'll notice on here is a link to the KCD Discord, and this actually, when you connect to the KCD Discord, then this will well, yeah, the first thing that it'll do is it'll ask you, hey, do you authorize this bot to automatically join you into a Discord server, which you will say yes because you want to join the Discord. And then it will actually add you to a role on the Discord server, which will give you special privileges on the Discord server as a license holder to Epic React. So that's kind of fun. So that just associates your Epic React license with your user on Discord. I recommend that you take advantage of the Discord server because it is great. I like the Discord server. We have awesome people there, and that's where we do learning clubs and stuff, which I'll talk about later. Another thing on here before we get into the content that you can't see, we have the podcasts. So this is pretty good. People have been watching this or listening to these and seem to like them. It's a little self-indulgent because Michael Chan is interviewing me for all 9 episodes. But people seem to be getting a lot of value out of them, so take advantage of that. Whether or not you get an Epic React license, you have access to this. And same thing for the articles. I just wrote an article today, and it will be on this page soon. It's a good one, a goodie. All of these are goodies, but the one I wrote this morning was good. I really like this Myths About Use Effect too. That one was great. And then live streams, that's what you're viewing right now. These will all be available after the fact. So if I ever say anything, you're like, wait, how did that work? Or what did he do? I don't know. Then you can watch the recording, and yeah, those will be available forever. We also have our help. This will take you to the getting set up, which we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, so I'll skip that. And then access workshops is where we're at right now. And then you have send feedback, so you can pick an emoji. And I'm going to pick the heart smile and just say, I love you all. You are the best. We'd love that. Positive stuff is good. Negative stuff is also like, you know, I want to hear about things that aren't going well. You also have light mode and dark mode on here, so there's that. That's kind of exciting. I don't know why you would choose light mode, but some people like that. And then you can log out, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, cool. And then if you've already started, then it will have a continue where you left off, and then you just continue where you left off. You'll see I've got a couple like check marks on things and not checks on other things because I've been jumping around all over the place. But I recommend that the way that you go through this material is pretty much top to bottom, except, or with the one exception of this build an Epic React app. This is kind of like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in here. And you'll notice some things are out of order. That should be up there. But this is pretty much top to bottom, starts really simple and then gets progressively harder. And so as you're going through these totally isolated workshops here, if you say, you know what, I'd really like to see what this looks like in a real app, then you can just stop your progress and go to the real app workshop and go through as much of that as you want to, and then come back to the regular workshop. So yeah, so let me think if there's anything else before I dive into things. Oh yeah, let's talk about learning clubs. So if you go to kcd.im/clubs, then this will describe what a learning club is. It has nothing specifically to do with Epic React. It's more general, just like I want to learn a thing, and I learn, like people typically learn better when we're learning together. We hold each other accountable, that sort of thing. This only really works if you're really committed to participating in the learning club. So if you're not really interested in participating, then I don't recommend that you join one. But the basic idea is on Discord, you can create group chats, and these group chats can are like mini servers where you can have up to 10 people in at a time, and that's perfect because you wouldn't want to have more than 10 in a single learning club anyway. And so you, what KCD Learning Clubs is it's kind of, I facilitate getting people together who are interested in learning the same things, and then I help you form a group, or that group, to actually learn whatever it is you want to learn. So specifically about Epic React, you can use this to go through the material. And the process of putting a learning club together involves creating a schedule. And because you want to at least know, like everybody should know, okay, we're meeting synchronously because we're doing a video chat to discuss what we learned. Or you could potentially even go through the material together. That would be totally awesome as well. But however you decide you want to structure it, if you're doing synchronous meetings, you want to make sure you have time zones all set up and everything. So, and everybody should be comfortable with the speed at which you're going through the material as well. And so here we have KCD Learning Clubs Ideas, which is a repo that has curriculum and templates for a lot of different things, and hopefully more things in the future. But there's one for EpicReact.Dev, and if you go here, then this is a template schedule. So if you decide, hey, I want to create a learning club and find other people who can go through things at the same schedule as me, then you can go through and create your own registration form. And I explain how to do all of that stuff right in here. So if you want to create your own learning club, then that's awesome. If you don't want to create your own, or you want to see if there's one that you can join before creating one, then we actually do on the Discord have this active clubs, and there are 2 active clubs. I'm guessing that this one's actually already full because there were only 2 left a couple hours ago, and this one had only 6 slots left as well. So these are probably going to be gone if you're watching the recording, but they might still have registrations available. Just make sure that you're committed to the schedule, that you're actually willing to show up every Monday at 6 p.m. IST. If you're not willing to do that, then please don't take up the spot of somebody who is. Okay, so that's learning clubs. You don't have to do a learning club to go through the Epic React material. I just recommend it. I find that the people who participate in group learning are typically the ones who are going to learn better, have a better experience. One thing that you'll notice on EpicReact.Dev, if you actually read the giant amount of, basically giant blog post that we have, one of the things that we say here is that it's not for anybody who doesn't want to put in the work. So here, let's find work, framework, workshops, funny escaped things. Thank you. It is in here somewhere. I didn't think workshop here. Let's do workspace. Work through, work to, willing to do the work actively. All right, so this is what is required for you if you want to have a good experience. So some assumptions about going through EpicReact. So you need to have a strong understanding of modern JavaScript and web development in general. I'm not going to be teaching JavaScript in EpicReact, but then also you need to be willing to do the work actively. If you're not willing to work, then like I can't learn for you. It's not, there's no such thing as a course on the internet that can do the learning for you. So yeah, if you just won't work, or it won't work if you won't do the work. So anyway, that's why a learning club is great, because it puts you in a group of people who are all putting in the work and you can support each other. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go ahead and dive in to this course material now. So like I said, at the very beginning, you're going to have an onboarding. There's a little like welcome to React video, and then you land in here, and the first thing, or like where you very first start, is the welcome to EpicReact. This is the setup stuff where I teach you how to get everything all set up for most of the workshops. Like all except for the last one applies to what you learned here. And so I strongly advise that you don't skip watching these. I explain how the projects are structured, how to get things set up locally, and then running the workshop app, which is pretty cool. Here I can show you React fundamentals.netlify.app. This is the production deployed version of the workshop app that you're going to be working through. So you can explore this if you want to. All of the content, by the way, some of you may not know, all of the content is available on GitHub for free. So if you wanted to just go through the content yourself because you can't afford the workshop price or whatever, then you totally can. And that's why I make it free, because I realize not everybody can afford it. So yeah, you can go through that free. You just won't have access to the videos, which is kind of a big deal. There's also, on here, you can cast to your TV. Which you can do. I don't foresee many people using this feature because so as you're going through EpicReact.Dev, you will spend more time at your keyboard in your IDE than you will be watching videos, which is actually mind-blowing, because I still haven't added it up yet, but it's going to be something like 30 hours of content. So you're going to be spending more time at your keyboard than watching 30 hours of content. So let that sink in. There's a lot of stuff here. So yeah, I don't expect people to watch this on the TV. Maybe if you just want a review or something. But yeah, that's there if you want it to be. You obviously have volume control and pause and play. Here in the settings, you can control the video quality and the speed. And that goes from 0.25x to 0.5x, and then 1.5x and 2x. You can actually control the speed differently as well. So if you inspect this, then like you're going to have to dive in here a little bit. But there you'll find the video player, and here you can say $0.playback speed or playback rate, and you could set it to like 0.9 if I'm just like barely too fast for you, and now it's going to be at 0.9. Or if you're like outrageous like me, then you can set it to 3 and just watch it like ultra fast, and then that actually will persist for you as you watch all the videos. So you don't have to do that on every video. That will persist, which is kind of cool. So yeah, so there's that. And then audio quality, also you have control over that as well. And then you can do full screen and not full screen. So oh yeah, and then down here we've got some description yeah, some description stuff. All of the videos will have transcripts. These ones I just barely recorded the other day, and so they don't have transcripts yet. But you will have transcripts for all the videos, and let me just show you what those look like here really quick for a video where we definitely, I know we have transcripts already. Those are loading. Here they are. And so you can click on any of these and it will take you to that point in the video. So like if you're just trying to really quickly go through things or whatever, then you can just read through here and be like, oh yeah, this is where he talked about the Babel REPL. Let's see what the Babel REPL is all about, whatever. Yeah, you'll notice now, since we're in an actual workshop, on the setup stuff, it just had like video, video, video. But in the actual workshop, each one of these is going to be a individual collection of videos. And so each is an exercise, but then the exercise involves an intro video that explains the problem that you're trying to solve. And then you're supposed to go and solve that problem using the workshop material, and then like locally on your machine. And then you come back and you watch me go through the solution, and then you can also go through the extra credits as well. Lots of these will have several extra credits. Some of these have like tons of extra credits, and so there's a lot of learning opportunity here, and yeah, it's kind of fun. So that's the video player. I think that was all that I wanted to say. One thing that I'd also recommend is don't skip this early stuff. If you think that like, oh, I don't need the fundamentals, I've been using React for like 3 or 4 or 5 years. I have a lot of people tell me that they learn a lot from React, like my beginner material on React. So like, don't just skip the early stuff. You will want to have gone through this stuff. And the thing is, if you are that good, then the beginning stuff should go pretty quick for you. So don't worry about it. Don't skip it. This is, you're investing a lot of time and money into this so you can get really good at React. And if you skip the beginning stuff, then you're just shortchanging yourself. So it's your choice, but I don't recommend skipping the early stuff. Okay. And yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, one other thing I need to mention is that the complete button, we've got this complete and continue button. This does, like, we don't mark things as complete automatically for you, and there's a good reason for that. It's because you need to get down and actually do the work, do the exercise, and so I can't know whether you've actually completed it until you mark it as complete. So yeah, but there is a cool little animation. Watch this. That's kind of cool, right? I like that. It's kind of fun. So yes, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to share. That's the tour. I mean, I could talk about the like content that we cover. So here, I'll scroll through this really quick. We'll talk about that, and then I'll get to any questions that we have here. So yeah, React fundamentals. We've got creating Hello World and just JavaScript, and then we talk about the raw React APIs, and then using JSX with Babel, creating custom components, styling forms, rendering arrays, and then a little congratulations, you finished this workshop. And you'll get a certificate at the end of each one of these workshops. There will be a little link you can click to download your certificate that has your name on it and everything. I know some people really need that for to get reimbursed from work and stuff, so that's what that's for. And it also feels awesome. You should print it and frame it. So yeah, then somebody just asked, is it only questions related to EpicReact? Yes, right now, if you want to ask me questions that are unrelated to EpicReact, that's fine. Ask those at office hours on Monday or on Thursday, my regularly scheduled office hours. Okay. So React hooks, again, some of these are out of order. We're still working on that, don't worry. It will be in order on Tuesday. But yeah, we're going to talk about use state, use effect, have some great use state practice, talk about how to manage state a little bit, so lifting state and co-locating state, talk about hooks, how the order in which hooks are called. That one's kind of interesting. So you can get a better understanding of like use state relative to use effect and so on and so forth. Interacting with the DOM and making HTTP requests. And then for the advanced stuff, we get into use, reducer, use. We use all of the hooks that are currently available. So yeah, that's the advanced hooks, just fills in the gaps for the beginning stuff. But the cool thing is that once you hit this second workshop, you're all ready to build like legit applications with just these ones. And the advanced hooks are useful, like really useful to know, and often you'll need these to build those legit applications as well. Yeah, and then advanced React patterns. We're going to talk about a context module functions pattern that I learned from Dan Abramoff, something that they're doing at Facebook. And I give some examples of like code that Facebook, or that comes out of Facebook that uses this pattern. The cool thing about advanced React patterns is actually there's examples of real world projects that use all of these patterns. So you can get a sense for like, okay, so how does this apply in the real world? In addition, building React apps implements the compound components pattern, where you can implement an actual component that needs and uses that pattern. So that's cool. State reducers, love that. And control props, awesome. So good stuff there. Oh, and I think I mentioned it, but yeah, custom hooks we talk about in here. I don't think, yeah, here we go. Custom hooks there, but also we talk about custom hooks in here as well as part of extra credit and stuff. So there's a lot more. Like you see this and it's like, wow, that's not a whole lot. No. There's a lot. Each one of these play buttons is actually like a play button for at least 5 videos. So there's a lot of stuff in here. All right, and then performance. We get deep into performance, code splitting, and then lots of the React performance workshop is actually like, React has given us this toolbox of tools to use to optimize different things for performance when we need to, but which tool do I use? And so we also show you how to use the browser tools to identify which tool would be appropriate in your given situation, and then to identify if your implementation of the tool actually made any difference. So yeah, I teach you how to use some of these tools, how to optimize some things, both inside and outside of React. We even get into web workers for some stuff, which is kind of fun. Yeah, just some really common performance issues, as well as production performance monitoring, which is pretty cool. And then testing React apps is also quite awesome. So we get into... we don't jump right into React Testing Library. I want you to understand what React Testing Library is doing for you. And so we start with just regular React DOM. And again, like these are many videos and exercises and extra credits. So lots of stuff for you to learn about what is React Testing Library even doing for me. That's like when we're working directly with React DOM. Then we jump into React Testing Library, like, wow, that's a lot easier and it's awesome. And then we talk about like testing practices, like avoiding implementation details. I say that phrase a lot. And then we talk about testing forms, mocking HTTP requests, and mocking browser APIs and modules. Like I have gotten so many questions about testing that I just chucked in as much as I could to answer all of those questions that I get all the time. And so that's exciting. A really common question on this testing portion of Epic React is, okay, well, you also have testingjavascript.com. So like, which should I use if I want to learn testing? If you want to learn testing, then testingjavascript.com is the best place to go learn testing. But if you want to learn React, then EpicReact is the best place to learn React. So if you want to learn testing and React, then you'll get some testing from EpicReact, because it wouldn't really be that epic if we didn't talk about testing. But if you really want to learn testing, then you'll also want testingjavascript.com. And after you buy a license to EpicReact, for the next 20 hours, you will have a super great, huge discount to testing JavaScript. So you can kind of think of that as like a bundle thing. But yeah, it'll be this big banner at the top. You'll want to just make sure that you do that in the next 20 hours. Otherwise, that discount goes away. You can still buy it though after the discount. But yeah, so then we're creating a custom render method, testing custom hooks, good stuff there. Lots of, actually, I think testing custom hooks, yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff in each one of these. Yeah, look at all that stuff. Ah, man, this is so great. I can't wait for you to see this stuff. Let me go back. Oh, too far back. Here we go. Okay, cool. So that's testing. And then we get into super duper experimental stuff. So you can actually skip this one if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of interesting. But one little caveat to all of this is this use transition is using like right here. Actually, all of these videos are actually using APIs that have already been removed from React Master but haven't yet been released. So I wasn't able to re-record those videos. I will get these updated eventually, but this is the whole module is, or the whole workshop is experimental, and I try to be as clear as possible. If you aren't happy with living on the bleeding edge as the one who's bleeding, then just skip this one. You don't need to know about React Suspense today. But what's cool about learning about it today is that when it does come out, you'll hopefully have a good mindset for it, even if the APIs change drastically. And I think that it's important for us to have an idea of what's coming in the future so that we can be the ones to build the abstractions so that most people don't have to work directly with the APIs that we have in here. But this is really cool. Like React Suspense has a lot to do with improving perceived performance as well as actual performance. We'll learn about render as you fetch, which is really cool. And actually, I've got an article about that, and yeah, and that's cool. And we actually do some render as you fetch in the build an Epic React workshop, or an Epic React app, so the last workshop here. And we do it without suspense, so you'll get to see what that's like without suspense. So then we get really super epic with build an Epic React app. So, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. Look at all that stuff. So much stuff. So we get really basic, and we get progressively more complicated or more advanced. And then we also have a bunch of stuff on testing. So this is actually 4 workshops. So you could think of this last one as 4 additional individual workshops. And so in the schedule that the schedule template for KCD Learning Clubs, I actually take some of these videos and interleave them into the regular schedule. So I'll have you do the first 2 workshops, and then I'll have you do a couple of these, and then I'll have you do the next workshop and a couple more of these, and so on and so forth. You can interleave these however you want. It's totally up to you. You can save these for the end if you want to. Yeah, so we start out really basic, rendering a React app, adding styles, making HTTP requests. We talk about authentication. I recommend using an auth provider, and so I made a little module that it has similar APIs to auth providers that you might be familiar with, like Firebase or Auth0, but we're not actually using those because I don't want you to have the additional complexity of creating like the developer keys and everything, and I don't want to tie you directly to any individual auth provider. You can make that choice. Eventually, maybe I'll add something to be like, okay, now here's a little appendix. If you wanted to take the Bookshelf app and wire it up to Auth0, then here's how you do that. That could be a thing in the future, but right now it's just a little example module for authentication. It should get you up and running really well. Then we talk about routing. We're using React Router version 6, which is still in beta. Kind of thought it would be out of beta by now, but I don't expect the API to change in any significant way relevant to the workshop. So as soon as version 6 is officially released, then this will get updated, and you shouldn't have to. I shouldn't even have to update any videos. It'll be fine. Cache management. This one is the biggest set of videos in the whole thing. Check this out. Look at all those videos. 24 videos, all about React Query. It's almost like it's a hard problem, but React Query just makes it so nice. I can't wait for you to see that one. Yeah, snappity snap snap. Then we talk about context, because we do have some UI state that we need to manage ourselves. Compound components. So we get into the patterns, we get into some performance things. In the performance one, we talk about using production performance monitoring, and user tracing, like even asynchronous interaction user tracing. That one's really cool. Yeah, a whole bunch of videos for that one. Yeah, it's fun. You're gonna like that. Render as you fetch, also a really cool one. This one is without suspense. And then we get into some testing stuff. Unit testing, testing hooks and components, integration testing, and end-to-end testing. And then we have the welcome that's supposed to be at the beginning, and then the outro. And then you're done. And that's all. That's everything except for a surprise that I am not yet revealing. There are still a couple more surprises that are left that I'm not going to show you. So with that, all that stuff, this is at least like 14 weeks worth of work. That's what the schedule is for the KCD Learning Club, to doing basically 1 module a week with some of these exercises from the Build React Apps interleaved. yeah, that's basically how that is going to pan out. It depends on how much experience you have already and how much time you have to dedicate to learning this. But I wouldn't recommend just plowing through it. That would plowing through it will not make you remember anything, right, Cody? That's right. So don't just plow through it. Okay, cool. So let's rock and roll on some questions. A bunch of questions have been asked. First 24-hour discount will be epic. Yes, I should say epic instead of huge. That's a good idea. Thanks, Andrea. Video speed. Sometimes 2x feels slow. Yeah, so so I'm pretty fast talker. You want a 1.25 on the video player. That's unlikely to happen, but I showed you the workaround, so there you go. Yeah, only questions related to EpicReact, please. Feel free to ask during my office hours on Monday. Do we know anything in regards to price? Nope, nothing. Nothing yet, but it's going to be great. Interested in the content, trying to convince them to buy it. Yes, get your company to buy this. It feels cheap to me for a company to not pay for your education, honestly. Could you talk about the workshop app a bit? Yeah, sure. So the workshop app, so here's what that looks like. You have all the exercises right here. You're going to be running this locally. And here on the left side, you'll see some of the background, and I recommend you read all of this. There's also, when you're working locally, it can sometimes be helpful to see what this looks like in production, so you can look at the production deployed version of these things. We also have explanation on the extra credit. And then in the content itself, I should just bring it up. Let me see. React fundamentals. We'll just pull this up so you can see what, oh, wrong window. Okay, cool. So if we go to 01.html. So this is our exercise. This is where you meet Cody the koala bear. That's me. Hello. So Cody is your guide through all of this stuff, and he kind of explains what you're supposed to do. So pretty hand-holdy, but I promise based on research and anecdotal experience that even though Cody's kind of hand-holdy, you still learn a huge amount. So yeah, Cody's there, and then Marty the Money Bag is here to be even more hand-holdy. It's like, you need to do this thing, but it's unrelated to what you're trying to learn, so I'm just going to give it to you. That's what Cody's basically doing. So yeah, so you fill this out, you save it, it does like a hot reload, and it'll update in here. You have the isolated page, so you can have like literally all that is on the page is what you wrote in the file. So it makes DevTools a lot easier to use and stuff like that. And then, yeah, so you have the exercise, the final, and then extra credit is also here as well. And each one of those has their own isolated page that you can look at if you need to. And then we have the elaboration and feedback form down here, which is one of the many things that I do in the workshop to help you with retention, because I'm really interested in you remembering this stuff. So this pops open a form where you fill in, elaborate on what you learned. Yeah, that's your opportunity to basically write like a sentence or two about the core concepts of the new things that you learned. Or sometimes like people will basically write a blog post in here. And I recommend that people do write blog posts about the stuff that they're learning. You'll learn it better. You'll just remember it better. That's science. So yeah, that's basically it. There's also, when you're running it locally, you'll have the dev tools. And I can enable that in production by giving dev tools equals true. And then the dev tools just show up down here. You can persist them, or they just go away when you mouse out. Yeah, the way that this works is you can control HTTP request failures. So if you want the next request to fail, then you just bump that up to 100%. You can also control how long HTTP requests take. So because the point is that I want you to be able to do the entire workshop material offline. You can download the videos as well. And so and I also want it to be really simple for you. So there's literally only one script to run. You don't have to have Mongo installed or anything weird like that. And so all of the requests actually happen in the browser in a service worker using MSW. So it's awesome. And what that means is we have a lot of control over the requests. And so you can also control request failures. So if you want a specific request to fail, then you can put that in here. And then that way you can test what error messages show up. We also have this in the Bookshelf app, which is the EpicReact app that we build. And so here with that, if you enable DevTools, it's enabled by default in development. So when you're working locally, it'll just be enabled. But in production, you have to enable it. And we have the same DevTools thing here. And even we also have React Query DevTools as well, which is pretty cool. So if I persist this, then we go here, we're going to see all of our React Query stuff in here. And I can say, let's add that. And it all shows up. It's awesome. And React Query is just the bomb diggity. You can look at this and be like, oh, cool, here's all my data. Snap. Yeah, it's good stuff. So anyway, that's the app. Good question. Took me on a bit of a tangent. It was fun. How to clear React doubts when going through this course. Great question, Smit. I think you actually asked a similar question recently, and what I said was the EpicReact channel on Discord is the best place to do that. In addition to that, and even maybe better than that, is a KCD Learning Club. So if you're not already a part of a club and you're planning on getting EpicReact, then I strongly advise that you either create a club or join one of the active clubs. I'm guessing these are already filled, and their club creators haven't marked these as filled yet. But you can try, and they just might say, "Hey, sorry, no, we're already full," and you'll have to create your own. But if you need help getting one created, I've got a video on YouTube where I show you how to do that, how to create a club. So, yeah, that's the two things. Like if you're like, I need some help, EpicReact channel here on Discord, and have a learning club. That will help a lot. Will there be free content from EpicReact? Yes, there already is. You've got the podcast here. You've got the articles here as well. Oh, and there it is. Oh, whoops, to do. My bad. I need to fix that. It was to do and it was not to done. And there we go. Yeah, so I need to fix that. Sorry, it threw me off for a second. Yeah, so other free stuff, the live streams I've got, those are also free. And then all of the content is free. So you can go to github.com/topics/EpicReact-Dev. And this is all completely free also. So you can go through this material yourself, and you can join the Discord just like anybody else and ask questions about it. You just won't have the videos of me walking you through this stuff. And a couple of the other surprises that we have in store for you as well. So that's fun. Thank you, Brian. I missed your comment. You basically said that. What is the effective way to get the most out of the course? How many hours should I spend per day? Yeah, so all of that is very relative to how much time you have. I wouldn't recommend spending more than like 4 hours in a day on this. When I give these as workshops, as live workshops, it is a 5-hour workshop with breaks. So I do recommend that you don't just sit around and just keep like plowing through it. But yeah, I suggest that you work through this material over time. And like, I wouldn't suggest, okay, 4 hours today, 4 hours tomorrow, 4 hours a night. No, you need to give yourself like a day break or something. So, and yeah, it's $7,000 for all the classes. Yeah, so if I were to list all of these workshops, there are 11 workshops in total, because remember this last one is 4 workshops. So 11 workshops times $600 is $6,600. So getting up to $7,000 there. It is not going to cost that much, I promise you. This is actually one of the big reasons why I created EpicReact, was because I knew I couldn't scale this because it's too expensive for me to get this information into people's brains. It costs too much for me, and so I have to charge a lot for everybody else. And so I thought, well, okay, in manufacturing, they leverage economies of scale, and then they can pass their cost savings on to the customer. And so that's what I did. I said, okay, let's figure out how I can scale this, and then that will save me a ton of money, and then I can pass that savings on to the customer. So that's the idea. It will not be anywhere close to $7 grand, I promise. Not even close, way less. But the value will still be the same. It's amazing. Okay. Are the future future React features like concurrent mode mentioned in EpicReact.Dev? Yes, I mentioned that earlier. We have a whole workshop on suspense. Testing custom hooks seems awesome. It is, Paulo. It is. You're going to love it. What time of day of week must I be on to participate? So that's the cool thing about clubs, Munt, is that you can actually create your own club that is at the time that is good for you. And then there are enough people who are going to be taking Epic React that it's likely that that will be a good time for everybody. Sorry, not for everybody, for enough people for you to fill that club. So if you want to have control over when your learning club meets, then be the club captain. So you can choose. And then people who, where that works, can participate. If you're worried about being the club captain, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can like take on that responsibility. Just know there's actually not a lot for you to do other than get it set up and just go to every meeting, which you would probably want to be doing anyway. And then we also have a club captains channel, which you will get added to if you are the club captain, where you can talk with other club captains about how to make things more effective or whatever. Just shoot the breeze with other club captains. So don't be afraid of being club captain. And again, just a reminder, you do not have to do a learning club if you don't want to. Totally optional thing. So yeah. Kunal, one of our club captains, what up? Can we get a look at the workshop app? Yes, I answered that. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like big companies that take too long to like move money around probably have enough money to make it work, or maybe they should just make moving money around faster. Okay, so excited for suspense. Yeah, I am too. It's gonna be awesome. No payment options on EpicReact.Dev. Yes, we're going to be using Stripe, so it'll be credit card. I know that in the future, this is a plan, not a promise. In the future, we're hoping to get PayPal support or something else, but that will all happen after the launch. So if you want the discount, you're going to want to use whatever payment options are available to you at the time the launch happens. Yeah, sale is in a few days. Looking forward to it yet. What stack is the Epic React course platform built on? Yeah, Ian is working on it. Thanks, Ian. You rock. Amazing platform, and it's built on Gatsby and Tailwind. Yeah, and MDX. MDX, yeah, we use a lot of MDX. In fact, this stuff is all, actually, it's just Markdown. I didn't find a need to actually use MDX for this stuff. But yeah, Markdown, and using MDX to parse that too. What's the app we will build at the end? So that's the bookshelf app. So it's complicated enough to be like a real world thing. You're doing CRUD operations and all that, but not so huge that it is difficult to get your head around for the purpose of the workshop. So that's what we're building, and it's pretty fun. And the cool thing about this is that you can take it beyond what the workshop does. So if you wanted to add dark mode to this or something, like whatever you want to learn, you're like, I want to learn how to take the authentication this has and hook it up to Auth0 or Firebase or Azure or whatever, or I want to deploy this to this service, or I want to like whatever. I've given you the opportunity to build this thing and then build upon it with the extra knowledge that I give you. So I'm really excited about that aspect. One of the big challenges as a workshop instructor is how do I make things that are real world enough so that people can see how what they're learning applies to a real world app, but not so complex that they have to spend the whole workshop learning how the app works. And so because of this type of a setting, I can give you both. And so you get, okay, now I'm going to learn how to, use context in a very simple, contrived example. And then I can go over to the real world app and I can see how to use context in a real app. And so I get both. It's awesome. It is so awesome. So good stuff. Wow, indeed. On build part of the Epic React course, it will cover some deploy practices. Yeah, so let's see. We don't talk about environment variables or cache busting specifically. Yeah, we actually don't get into the actual deployment, but you can see the deployment as an example because it's deployed on Netlify. So you can take a look at the tools that are configured. We don't spend a lot of time configuring tools in Epic React. Mostly focused on just building React apps. And then like the configuration of tools and stuff is left to as an exercise for the reader and an exercise for myself maybe in the future to add that. Some countries will get a discount. We do support purchase power parity. Are we going to use functional components? Yes, 100% function components. We do write one class component, and that's for the error boundary. But then we immediately switch it for React error boundary, so then we get rid of that class component. So it's great. Are we going to build an React app from scratch? Yes, we do that in the EpicReact.Dev. Now, we don't show the process of building every single line of code for this React app. That would be a whole other Epic React thing. That would like double the size of this workshop. But lots of that is busy work anyway. It's like, okay, so let's learn how to style this div. Okay, now style like 500 divs or whatever. So like once you get the concept in a real world app, then I figured that you can apply that concept everywhere else. And so we just pull out specific parts of the app where, okay, now this is where we're going to start doing HTTP requests. Okay, now you figured out how to do that over here. I'm just going to fill in the rest for you and you'll move on to the next concept. So yeah, you don't build the whole thing from scratch. Now, you could if you wanted to. There's no reason you couldn't fill in those gaps yourself. You learn everything that you need to be able to do that. The DevTools thing is cool. I actually I give you a rundown of everything in some of the welcome videos and the onboarding videos and stuff like that. So you'll learn more about that as part of the workshop. The limitations, I actually don't know what those are yet. How do you make the little animations and graphics? I use this amazing friend. I don't use him, I guess. He's just an amazing person called Vojta. So here, let me show you EpicReact.Dev credits. So these people are just fantastic. We've got one of them in our presence right now. These are the humans behind Epic React. I didn't build this all myself, so that's me, but I'm one of several people. So Vojta is the one who did the animations and stuff. He's awesome. Actually, a couple other people helped with the animations as well. But yeah, awesome people. Really happy with these people. They're just fantastic. Okay, cool. Is GraphQL part of the course? We actually do use a GraphQL endpoint, but we don't do we don't build a GraphQL backend. We don't do any backend stuff in the course. This is targeted primarily for people who want to get really good at React, not necessarily for people who want to be like sort of okay at React, but then also sort of okay at backend. Every app that I've ever worked on, I focused 100% on front end, well, mostly on front end, and that played out really well for me. And then we had other engineers who were just super focused on back end, and that combination worked out really well at those companies. So that's the niche, I guess, that I'm going for. People who just want to get really good at React. Get your whole team this course. Yes. Oh, sorry, I missed this one. Whoops. How does Epic React fit in with the other courses? Is it complementary? Does it supersede them? It supersedes them. So there are some of this material is available, the older version of this material is available on Front-End Masters and Egghead, but it's older material. It's not going to get updated, and there's way more material in here than in any of those. So yeah, it's not really, I wouldn't say it's complementary. You don't need those things if you have this. Love to get my whole team on this course. Do it! And be very willing to be a club captain. Yeah, be a club captain for like friends. Before you publish your registration form to the world, you can have your friends join the group and say, hey, I've only got like 5 left or something. That's what I recommend. Like, create a group with people that you already know. The reason that I have the club captain process at all is because I know not everybody has a group of 9 other people that want to learn the same thing that they want to learn. And so I'm just here to facilitate putting you together with people who want to learn those same things. So is it possible to provide us some sample videos from classes? I don't know if that's in the plans. I kind of doubt that is in the plans. But they're good. And here's the other thing is you have a let me double check so I don't say something wrong, but I'm pretty sure you have a, let's get down here to the bottom, it's right here, a 30-day money-back guarantee. So yeah, there's like basically no risk. Other than your time, so you're trusting me with your time, I don't think that that's too much to ask. So go ahead and sign up, try it out, and if you're like, ooh, that's not working for me the way that I want to make this work, then that's fine. Just send us an email and we'll give you your money back. And that works out nicely. T-shirts, I didn't see it. I missed something. I'm not going to say anything about t-shirts right now. Is there some videos on the React code itself and how it works under the hood, something like interviews you used with Dan Abramoff? Let me think. Not exactly. There's a little, you get a little bit of that in the fundamental stuff. So we talk about JSX, how that works, and how React elements work. We talk about a little bit of that with rendering arrays as well. So yeah, not exactly what you're looking for, but yeah, there's a little bit of that. And there's some other things that I'm not going to tell you about right now that can kind of answer that question too. Major updates in React. Do I tend to update EpicReact? So here's the thing. Yes, my plan is to keep this updated for the foreseeable future. React is going to be around for a very long time. And honestly, React has been like relatively unchanged in the last few years. Hooks was a really huge change, but like your React code from 3 years ago mostly will still work with maybe some subtle changes, which is really awesome. So yeah, I do plan on keeping EpicReact updated. I think that's the core of the question. The videos are hosted on Egghead, and it's great. Making the course material open source, really excited by. Yeah. See, it's people like you that make it possible for me to build a sustainable business and also do really good things in the world. So thank you. I do feel like it's absolutely worth it to get the additional content, the videos and everything that I do. But people can go through so much of this stuff for free, and that's important to me because I want to be able to reach those people as well. So if it weren't for people who actually do pay for this, then I wouldn't be able to make things open source. So thank you. Total hours, I still need to add it up. I really should at this point, but I'm going to need a script to do it because it would take me forever to manually add it up. So there are, and I still need to add up how many videos we ended up with, but I know we're over 300. So if we say 350, and on average the videos are something like 5 minutes, so that's 1,750 minutes divided by 60 for hours. We're looking at almost 30 hours of content potentially, and then there's some extra stuff that I'm still not telling you that bumps that up even higher a lot. And then there's also the podcast that itself is another 9 hours or so, maybe 8 hours. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff here, a ton of stuff. It's so awesome. And like anybody who's watched my content in the past knows that a single minute of my content is worth like 2 hours of some other course on another platform I'm not going to mention. My content is very dense, and in addition, the whole thing is not just about videos. And like I said, you're going to spend more time doing working through workshop stuff than you are actually watching the videos. So this is bigger than you think it is. I promise. It is so big. There is a certificate of completion, yes, for each workshop. Do we learn about code splitting, Webpack configurations? We do learn about code splitting, and we learn about Webpack magic comments. And we do that both in isolation as well as in the actual React app. We don't configure Webpack in here, and I recommend that you don't do that either. Stop wasting your time. Just use one of the frameworks. They're great. We're using Create React App, but all of this knowledge that you're learning could be easily applied to Gatsby or Next or the upcoming Remix. And in the future, I have adding like different frameworks on my list of things to do that I could potentially add to EpicReact. Yeah, so PPP is supported for stuff like, for situations like that, for sure. Egghead emojis are super cool. We need to get some of those egghead emojis in this server. That'd be fun. Requirements to take the course. So if you go to the homepage right now, then there's this really long blog post, and it talks about some of the like pseudo requirements. But here, let's see. Modern. Here we go. So there are two big assumptions that I make, and that is that you have an understanding of modern JavaScript and web development in general, and that you're willing to do the work, really, like actually put in the work. If you don't have those two things, then you're going to have a hard time. And I do provide you, or I'll give you a link to kind of brush up on your JavaScript stuff. And if you look at this page and you're like, whoa, I don't know any of that stuff, then probably, I mean, you can get EpicReact right now. It's yours forever, but don't take it until you feel pretty solid on some of these things. So JavaScript to know for React. So read through this, and if you're like, yeah, I know those features, or like I mostly know those features, or I pretty much know those features, then you're probably okay to go through EpicReact. But if, oh, Ian just counted it up, 27 hours, 37 minutes. Wowza. And that excludes the surprise that I'm not mentioning, I'm sure. So that's exciting. Wow, that is a lot of content. And then it's also excluding the podcast too. Yeah, but if you look at this blog post and you're like, wow, I don't know any of this stuff, or I barely know some of this stuff, then go brush up on your JavaScript stuff before you take EpicReact. You can still get EpicReact, just wait until you're like, you know those features before you actually go through it. You'll have a much better time. Okay. Really happy to see. Yeah, we've got just a little bit of time left, then I got a jet. Really happy to see the course geared more towards intermediate advanced developers. Thank you for this. You're welcome, Scott. You're going to love this. Here's the thing. It's not geared toward more intermediate or advanced developers. It's actually geared for every developer. So you have to have experience with JavaScript. That's a given. But if you've never even looked at React before, then this is the best place to learn React, period. We start from the very, very fundamentals. So you will miss nothing if you've never used React before. So this is geared towards all people who want to learn React. That's what it's geared for. And that's why it's so big. It's awesome. What type of component styling is used? We use CSS and JS, but I show you plain CSS as well. So and inline styles too. I show you all the modern mechanisms for styling. But in the app we use CSS and JS primarily. Well, I cover I18N. That's not covered, but it's on my list of things to add potentially in the future. Do I have to pay to be part of a club? No, you do not. So we have EpicReact, and then we have clubs. Clubs are totally free. If you want to participate in an EpicReact club, then you first have to purchase EpicReact. If you don't have an EpicReact license, then you cannot participate in an EpicReact club. So yeah, because you wouldn't be able to watch the videos and stuff. So yeah, they are separate things. You don't get a license for being in a club. You have to pay for a license, and then you can participate in a club. So hopefully that makes sense. Will I update the suspense module if there are changes? I'm not sure how much I'm going to follow the moving target that is suspense. I have a feeling that the next time they make a major version or a major change to suspense, that will be a lot more stable, and so I might, but I'll have to judge it based on how things are at the time. I know that some things have already changed, but they haven't released those changes yet, so I can't even update the module anyway. Do you think the context API and hooks are useless? So it is off topic. I can answer that later. You can ask during my office hours and learn more about that at kcd.im/office hours. Okay, cool. I'm wrapping up here. Check the requirements. Thank you so much. All right, that was a good time. Thanks, everybody. I hope that you are looking forward to this as much as I am. That's impossible. I'm looking forward to it way more than you are, but I'm sure you're looking forward to it as well. Just to wrap things up, let's talk about the next live stream really quick. So EpicReact.Dev/livestreams. That is going to be on Monday. We're going to do a big Q&A about EpicReact.Dev, kind of like what we did this last half of Epic React, but there are always so many questions. So yeah, Q&A, and then the day after that, it's live. Oh my goodness, it's happening, y'all. And that'll be scheduled for an hour after it goes live. So hopefully everything's going well, and I'm not like freaking out during the live stream. Yeah, you can look forward to that. I did just write this article, so go take a look. I'm going to update this to-do thing here in just a second. If you're not already subscribed, then you can subscribe, and you'll get an email for this here in just a little bit. Outside of that, yeah, thanks everybody for being awesome, and we'll see you all in the future. Peace out. I got to figure out how to like do a legit peace out here. Here we go. Bye.